Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Fan Project Content Creators Series brought to you by Sports Innovation Lab. Once again, I'm your host, Jack Barlow. As content supervisor here at Sports Innovation Lab, I've had the pleasure of chatting with each of our recipients of our Fan Project Title IX grant. And the grant is once again focused on promoting up-and-coming content creators that are producing innovative storytelling content around women's sports. At Sports Innovation Lab, we've been focusing on how data can unlock the business potential of women's sports for over a year now. And we launched the Fan Project earlier this year to prove to the industry about the untapped market of women's sports and how the industry is leaving billions of dollars on the table. Now, today is our final edition of the Fan Project Content Creators Series, and it features Radha Gupta, the host of She Talks Ball. So Radha is a young and passionate sports fan that is using her platform to bring European football content and coverage to younger audiences across the globe. Now, Radha has been covering the women's European football market for about a year now and has personally been growing her channels across multiple social media platforms and a robust YouTube channel. So we know fans of women's sports are digitally native, and Radha has been helping them co-watch and share content within her community. So I'm pleased to welcome Radha Gupta of She Talks Ball to today's edition of the Fan Project Content Creators Series. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks again for joining. Today, I am joined by Radha Gupta of She Talks Ball. Radha, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be chatting European football, little content creation, women's sports, and everything in between. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I love chatting about that. So I'm ready.
Excellent. All right. Well, as you know, we have you on here today to discuss content creation, and you were a recipient of our Fan Project Content Creators Grant. So we're excited to have that moving forward and working with you alongside your excellent platforms. So why don't we just jump right into an easy one? Content creation, what got you started and why did you want to focus on women's sports?
I think very simply, what got me started was the fact that there wasn't enough content. And I realized there wasn't enough content because I was one of the few searching for content. And I was wondering why I can't get updates on women's matches, why I can't get news articles or what happened in the game, no analysis, no tactical breakdown. So I very quickly realized that there is a void or there's like a lack of content happening here. And then subsequently realized that the reason a lot of things do well, maybe sports or movies or whatever it is because there's content generated around them. And simply put, cricket, for example, in India is very big because it's always on our TV screens. There's always some sort of post-match analysis going on, or our newspapers are filled with it every day. And a very similar concept I tried to apply to women's sports and said, if there isn't enough content, there clearly is a demand for it because me and a lot others like me are asking for it. So why not try my hand at creating some content as well?
Yeah, no, that is perfect because, we often talk at Sports Innovation Lab about the fluid fan behavior of participate and create. So, you yourself are watching the matches, you're thinking, hey, why do I not get post-match analysis? Well, let me try and do it myself. You obviously are an avid fan and you want to be able to put out a platform that others are probably asking the same question. And we know, fluid fans and fans of women's sports specifically are very digitally native. So, you're using your platform to put out a lot of content that, there's a space in the market for it. So we can start there and let's go to, growing your platform. Obviously you're hosting these online videos, you're recapping matches, doing tactical analysis, breaking down plays. I see a Chelsea kit hanging in the background there. So what's it like been growing your following? How has that been working for you? And, where are you predominantly posting most of your content for She Talks Ball?
Yeah, so it started off with a simple Instagram handle. I think many things start off with a simple Instagram handle. And it's been about 11 months since I've started this. And I really didn't know what I was up to. I didn't realize how to grow this, how will the reaction be. But as expected, because there was such a void and there was demand for this kind of content, it picked up very quickly. In fact, a few of my friends who had no idea about it now watch matches with me. So it's really grown from the fact that if I see it on my screen, if I see a quick post about a match that took place last night and I end up reading it, the next match that takes place, I might end up following it or watching one half. So it just builds from there. I like to go by three C's, which are conversation, coverage, and content. And I think these three C's are something that I could just do sitting in my college room that I am right now. And you don't need too much money for it. You don't need any position of authority for it. You just simply need to put out a tweet or a post or a quick video. So that's how it really began, and the reception has been fantastic. I mean, the fact that you guys have reached out as well, and it's sort of picked up across the globe, not just in my own country, which I think is really special and kind of keeps motivating me to get back to this, because I feel like people are watching the content I put out. So it majorly goes out on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And I also am collaborating with One Football, putting out some content there, which is football specific. So yeah, it's been a good time so far.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, you certainly caught our eye, and obviously you're over across the globe in India. So, you know, taking a global lens at look, and you're, focusing on European football, like you said. And, when you're watching these matches with your friends, are you together watching, or are you watching via internet platforms? So like we often use the term co-watching. So how are you? Are you in the same room? Are you off in different parts of the dorm?
Yeah, so all of this began in lockdown because I had so much free time and I realized that, I should start watching much more sports. And I was like, women's sports has always been a thing I've been drawn to, because just a woman playing sports, you kind of want to see people like you do it at the highest level. And I
Of
didn't see
course.
that for many years. And the second I saw it, I was mind blown. I was like, this is all I want to watch. I want others to watch this. I want people to know about this. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, over the lockdown, we were all in separate houses. We watched it co-watching, as you said, over a video call, or we would watch the match separately and then discuss it later. But now that a lot of us are back on college campus, we have screenings that go on in the common room. We connect a laptop to the television and we all sit on the sofa and watch it. So it's been really special. There's been a wait to watch it together, and we finally, gotten over that phase and we're watching it together. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. We use the term the power of togetherness, and you're kind of trying to recreate the stadium aspect at home.
Yeah.
And obviously these co-watching platforms have been huge through quarantine, like you said, and now the fact that you're actually able to get together and watch is great. So excited to see more content coming out of that. And obviously the ability to now come together and have that sense of community within your friends, the dorm. I'm sure people will walk by and say, oh, pop in for maybe a few minutes, a half, like you said. But we know fans of women's sports are extremely loyal. They're very passionate. Like you said, it's been a pretty rapid growth for you. It started with a simple Instagram handle. Where have you seen fans of women's sports specifically kind of transcending the traditional sports fan, if you will? Like obviously you talk about the digital channels and kind of those behaviors with co-watching and participating content creation that way. How are fans of women's sports different than your traditional sit in front of the TV, put on your cable kind of sports fan almost?
Yeah, it's quite ironic because for a large part of the world, it doesn't come on our TV. So we really just can't sit in front of the TV and put it on. I'd love to do that, but instead I'm sort of finding one VPN, and then I'm finding this illegal stream that someone's doing, and I'm kind of, combining the two. And then I'm telling my friends that I've got it, I'll share my screen, it's working for me, there are no ads. So loyalty has also built from this lack of accessibility, because we only the loyal ones are the ones going to search for that link and find the stream. But now that we've done that, and now that they're seeing that people are actually watching, for example, the WSL is on the FA Player now, which is a free, legal, beautiful stream for us all, which means that a lot of more people are watching it. You've made it accessible. So I think I've broken off for you.
No, you're good on my front.
Oh, okay,
You
great,
still
great,
hear
great,
me?
fine.
Yep.
So
So just,
I will just start back again.
yep, totally fine. Yep.
Yeah, so the second you make it accessible, more people start watching, and the loyalty, the fan base just builds from there. I think one other aspect that women's sports fans are different from traditional fans is that it's very um, there is banter. There's just it never crosses that line. So at the end of the day, you bond over the fact that you're watching these amazing athletes, regardless of what team you support. And I feel like sometimes in the men's fans world, it gets overboard. We've seen riots in stadiums and things like that. We've never seen that with the women. And I think one final point from the players' perspective, I've always noticed this. They always stay back to meet little kids or sign jerseys or sign a cap or something like that, which makes them, our superheroes. It makes them almost in touching distance. And the second, your superhero or the person you look up to is so close to you, they become a role model. It's almost like I can be that person, they're right in front of me. So I think the players also provide a big role in inculcating this fan culture in all the people who watch women's sports.
Yeah, definitely. I know, fluid fans are very, very, let's see, they're able to follow a specific fan or a specific player, sorry, more than a team. You want to follow the
Yeah.
player that is accessible, they're active on social media, they're interacting with fans, they're, you know, they have the same societal beliefs as you, and they're focusing on social issues. And so when Tobin Heath signs with Arsenal, maybe now if you're a Tobin Heath fan, you become an Arsenal fan, and so you're
Right.
following that sense. And I know the UEFA Women's Champions League is now going to be on YouTube and DAZN, so that's a huge digital platform that hopefully is going to build to that accessibility that you're speaking to. So, there's a lot of moving parts as they continue to grow and expand the options, but you're right. The true loyal, digital savvy fans are the ones hunting for those streams. And hopefully you don't have
Yeah.
to do too much hunting for much longer. And, we can get some games readily accessible on a lot of the different channels, but maybe that's leading into my next question perfectly, but if there's something major within the industry that you would like to see change, whether it's getting more visibility to matches or the ease of accessibility to players, is there something that, kind of screams out at you like, hey, why aren't we doing this?
Yeah, there is one thing that's in my mind, which might seem very small, but I think it has the potential to have a ripple effect into bigger changes. So the change I'd like to see personally is when I say, who is your favorite football player? You should think of all the men and all the women and then give your answer. It should not be, you know, basically the language. I think when we think of football, we think of men's football. And then when I say women's football, then it comes down to all the women athletes. So very simply put, I want sports and terminology to become very gender neutral. In that sense, when I say cricket, for example, it will just be all forms of cricket. You won't be wondering if is it women's cricket, because a lot of people ask me, what's your favorite club, or do you support a team? And I say, yeah, Chelsea. And they're like, oh yeah, who's your favorite player? And then I'll say Sam Kerr, or I'll say Frank Kirby, and they'll just be like, who? So I want a very gender neutral terminology, because so now again, this is a very small thing. It's like, it's just language. You're not changing, you could have changed anything in the world and you're choosing to change terminology. But I think as soon as this terminology is changed, mindsets are changed, and mindsets have the potential to make really big decisions. And as soon as we are on the right track in terms of how we view sports as a whole and the future of sports, this terminology really makes a big difference, in my opinion, at least. So I feel like if we can get this on the right track and just sort of brainwash people, or, make them forget whatever they've learned in their life and say that, when I say football, you have to ask me, oh, you're talking about the Chelsea men's team or the Chelsea women's team?
Mhm.
I just don't want it to be Chelsea and then Chelsea women. Where, so again, a lot of Instagram handles, for example, is Chelsea FC and then it's Chelsea FCW. And this in itself is sort of conditioning the fans and the audience that, that is the main Chelsea and then this is the women's team. I don't want it to be default and then the backup thing. I just want them to be on the same platform. And I think from there we can really grow in terms of how we view both of them, how we cover both of them, how we talk about both of them, and have a little more equality in that sense.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I remember I think it was either Messi or Ronaldo. I'm trying to remember. Someone set the international goal scoring record. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
the most goals by an international or in international appearances. It's like, well, no, Christine Sinclair of Canada has far many more, but when
Yes.
you search that, it's only going to bring up the Messi and the Ronaldos of the world. And so,
Right.
yeah, I think it's a great point to just kind of get rid of the silos and put them on the same playing field. And, it'll begin to empower people to speak to that language where you can say, oh, I'm a Chelsea supporter, and that doesn't mean that I only support the men's team and Pulisic and everyone. So I think that's a really great point, and something that is, it's not a super difficult thing to do. It's something that
Yeah.
you can, just begin to work into your everyday language, and you can see that transcend into social media and everything. So yeah, I think that would be a great thing that everyone can do a little bit each day, and hopefully it'll begin to build and build and build. So that's a great point. I love that answer. And going off of building, and you've been working on your platform for 11 months, close to a year now, so congratulations, coming up on that 1 year anniversary. But
Thank you.
as a recipient of the grant, we hope that it can help build up your platform, and would love to know, what's coming up next. What is the goal in the next year or so as you round into your second year of production? What are you hoping to do with the grant money, and what's your big goal moving forward?
I want to get a website up and running. I think that's something that I've been thinking about, and I think the 1 year mark might be the perfect time to sort of launch that, especially because outside of She Talks Ball, I do a lot of podcasts and interviews breaking down football or talking about cricket or whatever it might be with other platforms, and just a way to showcase those appearances and maybe get my content more on Google searches, because websites are always great for that. So I think website is one main thing. Another thing is the mic connected to this laptop right now was bought once the grant came through. So I think equipment is always a big thing when it comes to content creation. And I started off with just a simple phone and a laptop and iMovie, and it just begun from there. But if I get into this full time, I really want to upgrade the equipment. As when I was talking to you guys as well, you said that the grant is great for that, or if you're working a side job, it helps you sort of build up this platform that you're working towards. So I think right now, since I'm in college, I do not have too much pressure apart from just the education side of things. So I can sort of slowly work things out, figure out what I want to do moving forward. But I think equipment was the main thing. Website is a big thing. And I think if I can travel to a tournament, maybe get a media pass and sort of cover the tournament for She Talks Ball, I think that'd be pretty special. So we do have the Women's Asian Cup in India in Jan next year. Crazy that we've got hosting rights. We're going to have Sam Kerr and the Japanese team and the South Korean team coming over to play in our home turf, which is pretty special. So I'm hoping to, head over there and cover that tournament as well. Let's see how that turns out.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I mean, the content that could come out of that would be great. And I'm looking forward to seeing your dorm room turn into a more of an at-home studio kind of space as you begin
Yeah.
to build out with that equipment. So all very great goals, and we're happy to help you along the way for that. And as we wrap up here, where can we find you? What are your social handles? And you want to plug, obviously, the website. We'll keep our eyes peeled for that as we get closer to that 1 year mark. But Instagram, obviously, YouTube channel. Where can people find She Talks Ball?
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's She Talks Ball on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Very active on Twitter, doing a lot of live streams. I sort of give out the handle when people are watching matches, kind of share the login with a few friends who live tweet the game if I'm not able to watch it. So it's just a way of creating more content coverage. I honestly believe like a single tweet that you put out for any women's sports event has massive repercussions, because they're going to ask you, oh, what was this match? Or, oh, what happened at the end? And as soon as you do that, two people will read it, and the next time five will read it, and it goes from there. So yeah, She Talks Ball, very fairly simple name. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Excellent. Well, we will be putting the links to all those handles throughout our publication of these episodes. And as we wrap up, is there any final words you have in terms of, the women's sports market or content creation or anything around She Talks Ball that we didn't get to cover?
Well, I firstly want to thank Sports Innovation Lab for handing out these grants. I was actually quite surprised reading the email, because I feel like this moment in time, or this point where women's sports is sort of gonna exponentially rise.
Mhm.
It's important to sort of help each other or support each other. And I was pleasantly surprised that you're handing out grants to people who are trying to cover women's sports. I honestly would have probably continued doing this for a long time even without a grant, but it just provides that additional motivation, and the fact that it's something worth doing. It's something worth doing because people are watching you, and honestly, it's just been, how do I even say this? I've just been really passionate about it. I'm constantly talking about it. My friends are tired of it. So it's just, it's come from within. And I think being a young girl playing sports, watching just men on TV, something didn't sit right. And the second I saw women play, I said, I want the next young girl to see these women as a young kid, not when they're 15 or 16, because things change. You have new role models, something that you can aspire to be. I, for example, didn't know that the Indian women's football team existed until very recently. So if I can get the next young girl to know that when she's 5 or 6, I think my goal is achieved.
Yeah, I definitely think the snowball effect is something that we're looking to see happen pretty quickly. And obviously our research through the fan project, we saw that at the youth level here in the US, the rate of women's participation, or young girls, I should say, is up 6 times higher than the men. So, there's a lot of young girls that are coming into youth sports, and they're seeing these fantastic athletes that are playing at the highest level, here in the US, winning World Cups, getting gold medals. And, if as you said, you're just learning about the Indian team. So I think it'd be great to continue to promote that and get as much visibility out there as possible. And then, we always say, if you see it, you can be it. So, we really appreciate all the work that you're doing. Excited to see more, and the next big things coming out of She Talks Ball. But just want to thank you so much for taking the time today, and we'll be working with you along the way as you continue to grow, and hopefully get to that match or the tournament out in India later. So,
Yeah, that'll be really special. Thank you for having me on. I love this.
of course, no problem. Thank you so much. Thank you to Radha Gupta, the host of She Talks Ball, for joining me today. Her passion to bring new and younger viewers to the women's European football market is undeniable. I really enjoyed getting to pick her brain on how she's using her social media platforms as well as her YouTube channel to stay connected at a global level and deliver unique commentary and content to her community. So be sure to go check her out on all of her platforms. Look for her next innovative stream on YouTube, and we'll be following her as she continues to grow those channels and create new streams of content. So thank you to the viewers, the listeners, for joining us today, and myself throughout the entire journey of our Content Creators series. You can find all the full episodes on our Sports Innovation Lab YouTube channel. You can feel free to visit thefanproject.co to learn all about our fan project research, how we're improving the women's sports industry, and how you could be a part of the movement by submitting some social media data, getting to learn more about the initiatives that we have in play, and potentially getting some nice women's sports gear. So thank you once again. For one final time, I'm Jack Barlow, and have a great day.